tonight's a very special night for him, Mr. John Ray Broussard.
Good. Perfect. You know, I'm sure you guys had some crazy, uncles or aunts or grandparents or whatever in your life. Well, I had my grandfather, he was the type of man, he'd say, what do you say at the end of your prayers at night? I said, amen. He said, you're damn right. He was a male chauvinistic pig to a certain degree. Hardcore Democrat, right? All the time saying, yeah, when the Republicans in office, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I say, shit, well, I need to try to get rich. Ever since then, I've been trying to get rich, because Republicans keep in the office. So here he is, my grandfather. He's all excited, he's a young man, like I said, high-strung, going out of town, doing his thing. He meets my beautiful grandmother and asks her on her first date. Well, naturally, my great-grandmother has to talk to my grandmother and say, look, baby, I know exactly how them little boys are. They're going to take you out to eat, then they're going to take you to a show. He's going to take you to a pasture somewhere, and he's going to put his hand on your leg like that. Then he's going to try and touch you up here. Then he's going to try and touch you down there, but you don't want him to do that because you don't want him to rub no shame on your family. Whatever you do, you don't let that little boy rub no shame on your family. All right, Mom. I understand, she said. Well, right before he gets to the door to pick her up, she felt this enormous cramp of gas come to her stomach. She said, oh, my gosh, what am I going to do now? I said, I got it. When he opens me up the passenger side door, I'm going to get in, I'm going to let it out. By the time he walks around, it's all going to be gone. Sure enough, he opens up the passenger side door, she gets in, she lets wham. He comes around, he says, now look, I want you to meet the couple we double dating with in the back seat. Yeah, so they go on their date, they all excited, They come back at midnight, a little bit past midnight. There's my old great-grandmother Hilda. She's saying, baby, what that little boy did to you? She said, Mama, that little boy did everything you told me he'd do. He took me out to eat, then he took me to the show. Then he took me to that pasture down the road, and he put his hand on my leg like that. Then he put his hands up here. I knew his next move, so I threw him on the seat and rubbed shame all over his family. So, yeah, needless to say, they end up, after this occasion, they get married. And they're on their honeymoon, and, they sit my grandfather in a separate seat from my grandmother, and he sits next to this beautiful woman, and he leans over, he says, my gosh, what is that beautiful aroma? You smell so good. And she thought she was bad. She said, well, that's Chanel No. 5, $50 an ounce. And us proud Cajuns, my grandfather was pretty proud. He said to himself, I'm going to fix her. So he felt this little cramp of gas come to his stomach. He passed it, silent but violent. She said, oh my gosh, what is that atrocious odor? He said, boudin balls, $2 a pair. Yeah, so she thought you. Then the airline pilot comes on there. He says, look, I got some bad news. He said, we just lost an engine. Y'all got to say y'all last prayers, make your last request, do what y'all got to do. So that beautiful woman jumps out in the aisle. She rips off her dress. She says, I want somebody to make me feel like a woman. My grandfather jumps out, takes off his shirt, said, here, iron this. He didn't put up with no bull. He was a classic. Yeah, so anyway, they get on their honeymoon, and just so happens my grandmother was a little promiscuous, but my grandfather didn't know about it. So, she went to the doctor before they got married. She said, Doc, look, she said, I'm a fool Daniel. He thinks I'm a virgin. I'm not a virgin. Oh, that's easy. So you tie a rubber band around your thigh. When y'all in the middle of your honeymoon doing your thing, you pop that rubber band, you tell him your cherry just popped. Oh, man, that's a good idea, she said. I'm going to have to remember that. So, boy, sure enough, they're on their honeymoon, takes off his socks and his shoes, and she says, man, Daniel, what's the matter with your toes? Why are they all messed up like that? Looks like you got about 3 toenails per toe. He said, oh, well, when I was a little boy, I had what you call a tolio. She said, no, you mean the polio. He said, no, I had the tolio. Okay, whatever. So he takes off his pants, and his knees were all messed up. She said, man, Daniel, what's the matter with your knees? Why are they all messed up like that? He said, oh, well, when I was a little boy, I had what you call the measles. She said, no, you mean the measles. He said, no, I had the measles. Okay, whatever. He takes off his underwear. She said, wait up, don't tell me. You had the smallpox too. Smallpox, you get it? Takes some people a little while there. But anyway, so they doing their thing. All of a sudden, she pops that rubber band loud. He says, what the hell was that? She said, my cherry just popped. He said, man, you better unpop it. You got my left nut caught in it. So, yeah, he was shot. That's the type of person he was, you know. I mean, it was just crazy. So anyway, it's beautiful, you know. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. They go on to have kids, you know, and man, it's kind of depressing though, you know. One day my grandmother's walking down the hall and she hears this vibration noise coming from my aunt's bedroom. She said, "Oh no, what's that?" She walks in there to find my aunt laying there buck naked with a vibrating thing going off full speed. She said, "What in the hell you think you're doing?" She said, "Mama, I'm 35 years old. I ain't ever been married. That's the closest thing I'm ever going to come to a husband. You might as well get used to it." All right. Whatever. A couple weeks go by, Daniel's downstairs in the basement. He hears his vibration noise coming from around the corner. To catch his daughter there on the couch, buck naked, going to town. He said, "What in the hell you think you're doing?" She said, "Daddy, I'm 35 years old. I ain't never been married. That's the closest thing I'm ever going to come to a husband. You might as well get used to it." Or whatever. Later on that night, the mama's cooking in the kitchen. She hears that vibration.